We all walk, and one of the things in which we excel most people is that we walk in better looking, better fitting shoes than any other people in the world.
Boot making is dead. The shelves today are filled with just leather costumed sneakers. They're cemented rubber, fake welts, thermoplastic, everything. They're engineered to fail on schedule. Glue one, guys. Marketing one. Shelf lives got shorter, and there is this straight up art form of true artisanal boot making that's dying. And there's only one place with a real shot of saving this art and this industry. It's not Florence or Paris or Tokyo. It's Bandung, Indonesia. It's kind of weird, right? But that's the way it's going. The Indonesians are outdoing everyone. They're making boots the same way we did back in the 1850s. And they can't keep these things on the shelves.
I can say all of our construction cannot be done by mass manufacturer.
All of it?
All of it.
Wow.
Because we do it all by hand.
Everything's hand done.
Yeah.
They cost a small fortune, and still, wait lists are months long.
And what does a pair of boots cost from here, roughly?
$500 to $700.
If somebody's watching this, they want to get a pair of boots.
So the total time you need to wait 4 months.
Wow.
Sometimes, just to get an order in, you need to go through a lottery process just for the privilege of buying a $700 pair of boots.
How do they get on the list?
So all who are interested to make boots, they apply for lottery, and every month only 5 who will win the lottery.
Wow.
And it's not just one random brand, it's an entire micro industry that's been built here around the art of boot making. So today, we're breaking it down step by step. What the hell happened to quality boots anyway? And how the hell did Bandung, of all places, become the last savior? For around 100 years, from the 1850s to the 1950s, bootmaking wasn't just the trade, it was the trade. This was the golden age of boots, before sneakers, before synthetics, way before fast fashion ever existed. Every country needed boots. But soldiers, farmers, miners, explorers, anyone doing something real. And the demand turned this craft into an industry. Cities like Northampton, Florence, Chicago became powerhouses of leather and skill. The best hands in the world were cutting and stitching and shaping the things that were literally holding our civilization together. And then came the machines. First the Blake, and then the Goodyear welting machines. They didn't replace the craftsman, they just multiplied him. A bootmaker who could once make a dozen pairs of boots a month suddenly could make 100. And the timing was kind of perfect. The world was modernizing and it was gearing up for war, and it needed boots, millions of them. The welting machines made scale possible without completely killing quality. In fact, a Goodyear welted boot is still tremendously made today, but something shifted. War needed precision, not passion. It needed consistency and not craft. And the workbenches quickly became kind of factory lines. The artisan had become a worker, and bootmaking had turned from this kind of slow art form into an efficient process.
So, sort of what a lot of people consider the gold standard of higher quality footwear would be something that can be resold. So the product's going to last longer. And for boots, like for tougher footwear, Goodyear welt is the type of construction that is the most common. It's like it's the one that's easiest to do at scale. You can do it with machines. It replaced hand welting in the 1860s.
But it sort of worked too well, because once the world saw how much speed and scale you could save, well, there was kind of no going back, no unlearning it. And the craft, while it didn't vanish overnight, it began to fade.
The boot world, the niche has moved on to wanting, apart from looks, the durability that came from boots that were made, 100 years ago. and the techniques and the materials that were used 100 years ago. And people are appreciating that, I think, much in the same way, I think, as a schoolboy collects stamps versus a professional philatelist.
And today, most boots are just sneakers pretending to be boots. They're glued, they're plastic, they're disposable. Most boots are basically just sneakers cosplaying as something tougher. And look, I do think you can make a pretty good case for the modern way of boot making. Today's glued, cemented boots are lighter. They're softer out the box and they're way cheaper. They're often waterproof pretty much right away. And for most people, they're going to last long enough. It's fair in a way. But what if you want a boot that was built the way it was back in the 1850s? Like a real boot, something welted, built to last a lifetime. Something that could be resold if you wanted it to be. A fit that literally improves leather and cork and fiberboard that just shaped your foot with every step. And a patina that will develop over time, something that's going to look better, more you, the more you own it. Well, the last city on earth that's still keeping that old school craft alive, at least at scale, is Bandung. Here's how. Under Dutch colonization, Bandung had become a leather town way back in the 1920s. The Dutch had brought in European shoe and bootmaking techniques, including the Goodyear welting machines.
The Cibaduyut Street is like legend about make a shoe leather.
And somehow the industry just stuck around in Bandung. It survived everything, the end of colonial rule, Indonesia's independence in 1945, and pretty much every modernization wave since. The craft never completely disappeared here, but most of the crown did follow what happened to the rest of the world. They moved into the whole faster, cheaper, cemented shoe type category, the kind of same routine we've been talking about. And I think it could have quickly become just another leather slum like Bangladesh. If you haven't seen that episode, check it out. But a few brands held the line.
Well, who's the first brand here to really try and do it at a really high quality level?
Yeah, the first one I think is like the Fortuna. Yeah, the Fortuna shoes.
Fortuna shoes, often called the OG of the Bandung industry, made export-grade shoes for the Japanese market. Goodyear welted, but just beautifully finished and pretty high-end stuff. And a little bit later on, Tegap Boots kind of joined the fray in the 90s. They built these handmade engineering boots for Indonesia's homegrown motorcycle enthusiasts, this kind of thriving scene here.
So this is like the design room.
Yes.
And then the workshop out back.
Yeah.
But I can
Correct.
see you have like a ton of different orders coming in from like fashion shows that are coming up.
Yes, fashion show and then the collection for our new store in Dubai.
In Dubai?
Yes.
Man, you guys are rolling out everywhere. Jakarta, Dubai. It seems like things are going pretty
Milan.
good. Milan?
Russia also.
Russia?
Moscow.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It seems like you can do cowboy boots, biker boots,
Yes.
stuff for law enforcement, and you do custom orders as well as product
Yes.
lines. Is that your advantage here, that you can be so flexible?
Yeah, because in the beginning we provide the custom things. Because of the custom thing, we used to make many things, right?
Yeah.
There is like no limit. Using the leather material, we mix with another material, and then when you are talking about creation, when you are talking about the creative things, there is no limit. So here we are.
And so much of it comes from here in Bandung.
Yeah.
Even the detailing on the shoes.
Yes, everything in here.
The spikes on the jackets.
Yes.
It's all coming from Bandung.
Yes.
And together, they proved that quality could beat out mass production. And they became this bridge. Their floors then trained that next generation. There were young Indonesians just obsessed with like workwear, Americana, old school, handmade, cool, and quality. And they suddenly had proof that they could build a world-class boot brand right in their backyard. Guys like Bagus from Segara literally started on the floors of Tegap.
It was at 2010 or 11, I think, and I start magang. What's magang is? Internship at Tegap.
But that first generation, or new generation, of bootmakers all had the same problem. They couldn't afford the machines. These giant Goodyear welds that were being used in the assembly lines, they were way too expensive for these guys. So they just went back in time. They did things the old school way, the real old school way. Hand blasting, hand welting, building the entire boot the same way that had been done in the 1850s. Not to create something higher quality and not for romance sake, at least not at first, but out of necessity. And it worked. It worked big time. Boot nerds around the world began to notice. They saw stitch counts, hidden channels, the obsession and attention to detail, and they realized no one else was doing this kind of work, not at this price point. And it sort of blew up overnight. Forums, Instagram, collectors, the word spread fast, and Sagara, they kind of led the way. And suddenly, this scene exploded. And today, there are dozens of independent makers. These guys do hand blasting, hand welting, and the work, the quality, this stuff is unreal. These guys are going to lengths that almost no one else around the world will, and certainly not at this price point, because here, the process, it is the point.
Alright guys, this one workshop is churning out just 60 pairs of super high-end shoes every single month. Let's see exactly how it's done right now. Trust me, some of these processes are insanely detailed.
It all starts with the last. It is the mold, and it's the heart of the shoe. It dictates the entire shape and the fit of what's to come. And for a bespoke pair, it starts by measuring out the client.
Another
This
fit.
foot here?
Yep.
There's like so much. This is normal?
And this isn't just tracing out the shape, they're measuring everything. The width, the height. Any differences from that stock standard last will be measured in.
Guys, I'm sure this is normal for some people, but for me this is insane. I've never seen anything like this. It makes me feel like I've never worn a proper pair of shoes in my life. Maybe for you boot nerds out there, you know about this kind of thing, but I had no idea you could trace somebody's foot and make a shoe in this day and age exactly to fit it. Just wild.
And he didn't just trace the outline, it was like I was getting this 3D scan, but done entirely by hand. And then they bust out this metal contraption just to double check everything. You might try on a few pairs of shoes just to see how those theoretical measurements line up in actuality.
Okay.
Let's try another size.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good, right? Like 44.5?
Yeah.
Boom, locked in. Are people coming to you for ready-made shoes, or is it all custom?
Mostly all custom, but we do have the stock boots as well. Every month we release the stock boots.
Ah, I see. How do the orders typically come in?
Online, by emails or website inquiry, because our website also support the customization option, and then through WhatsApp as well.
So you couldn't take orders in however which way?
No, only by appointment.
Ah, really?
Sometimes we do a trunk show, like the latest in Jakarta on March or February, and the next October we will do it at Singapore.
Wow, that's cool.
And next, they're going to translate those foot measurements directly onto the pattern that is on the last itself. First, they'll cover it with masking tape, and then they'll draw the design directly onto it. This 3D pattern then peels off and flattens out. They can scan it to turn it into a 2D blueprint.
All right, and this is what kind of leather?
Horsebutt.
Horsebutt.
Horsebutt from Italy.
Wow. Okay, and that's popular nowadays?
Yep. Because the horsebutt have the areas that other animals didn't have. The shell curvature layer. This is actually not more kind of muscles, not leathers. This is not a fiber. As you can see here, the leathers was more like a fiber,
right?
But the cordovan more like a muscle. They are very thick, very dense.
And why do people like that?
Because they didn't crease like how leather.
I see. So they like that kind of like smooth sheen on the final shoe.
Yep.
All right, I love it. And so the general gist of this would be that they just basically draw the pattern onto the leather.
Yep. Like this, same leathers.
And from that blueprint, they move to where the pattern is going to be cut into the leather.
how would you explain this? It's kind of like you're gluing first.
Gluing first. Yeah.
The upper, like an outer layer, and a softer inner leather.
Yeah.
Together, but no stitching at first.
No stitching.
Got it.
We need to glue it so when we sewing with the machine.
Yep, it stays perfectly aligned. Got it.
From flat pieces, we start shifting towards a more three-dimensional shape, just closing or stitching the upper completely together.
We use things that other bootmakers in Indonesia didn't have. The leather lining. Others use a thinner leathers like from goat or lamb, but we use cow hide and we develop it by ourselves. So I can say we use the best lining leathers that people don't have.
So you're trying to, even though people probably won't notice, it's like something you guys like to do.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in Sagara that didn't seen in the outside, like the linings, the interiors that matters in terms of comfort for the boots, and the steel shank, the hardware, we develop it by ourselves, not by ready at the shop.
So every part of the component, you guys have thought about what's the best way to do this.
Yep.
And now that the upper is just this floppy piece of leather, it's time to give it its final shape. This step is the lasting.
And what is the advantage of hand lasting as opposed to
Machine
doing
lasting.
a machine lasting? Yeah.
Okay, hand can control how much tension we need for stretch the leathers. Machine didn't have feels like that. So sometimes I don't want to look machine so bad. Okay, how do I say?
So like one piece of leather might be tougher or more stretchy on one part and looser on another. And the machine has no idea.
Yeah. Like that. So we can control the tension to be perfect.
So you guys can get a perfect fit from the upper into the last.
Yeah.
Got it.
The hand lasting that's the most artistic part of it. Like that's like you have to like kind of understand the leather. It's like a more magical sort of thing. You don't know, you're gonna be able to feel it. And this is like one of the reasons why they like doing hand lasting boots. They'll always say that this leads to a better fit. It leads to the maker having a better understanding of where the leather wants to stretch and where it doesn't want to stretch, and how to not put too much tension on it, and therefore it'll take up the shape of the last a little bit more nicely, and the fit will be more accurate and consistent across all the products.
Once lasted, the boot is left to rest. Just given enough time, the leather is going to shape to that last. And now it's time for the foundation, the bottoming process. This is where the real engineering happens.
All right, so these shoes have already been hand lasted.
Yeah.
And then now what we're doing is we're attaching the upper to the, what's it called?
We do the construction means we connect the uppers with the insoles. This is the inner soles. It's like a foundation of the boots. We connect it through this kind of stitching. This one using Norwegian storm weld.
Norwegian storm weld.
Yeah.
What are some of the other welds that you guys use?
We got Norwegian construction and then the flat weld.
Wow.
Braided. This one using braided stitch.
Beaded stitching. So these are all, again, more like custom options that people can ask for you guys to do. And your artisans, they've got to be able to do like all of it, depending upon which order is coming in.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It seems like a pretty intensive part of the process.
It takes 2 hours just to
2 hours?
stitching. Yeah.
For one shoe.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. What other parts of the this sort of sole are you putting in? You were saying that there's a steel shank.
Yeah,
you guys...
steel shank. This is the steel shank. It put on this area
to provide support.
To provide support and keep the shape on the waist. Other use cheaper materials and only a single rib, so it easily break down. But we use a double. At this gap, to fill in the gap, we will put cork materials. So the cork over time will mold the wearer's fit, like a personal fitting.
Got it. So you're using these materials so that the boot kind of just, it really molds to the owner over time. And so it's like, give me the full stack. So it's typically like
the inner sole,
the cork,
and then over here
shank.
we have the steel shank covered again by the vegetable tan leathers, and then we put the midsoles This is the midsole, and then we put the outsole, the rubber.
Got it. That's the full stack.
Yeah,
And then finally, that's all stitched together.
yeah.
Even the heel is built layer by layer from dense pieces of leather, stacked and nailed. And then, just when you think you're done, the finishing begins.
Guys, it is crazy. There's how many steps involved?
180 until 200 depend on the specification.
That's crazy, man. Like, guys, I'm trying to give you a kind of brief rundown as to how this is going, the sort of step by step on how these shoes are made. But there's no chance we can cover it all. Like, the level of detail these guys are going to is just wild. All right, so what's this process in here?
The edge trim process, the trimming process.
And it isn't just polishing, the edges are trimmed completely flat.
This is we call block heel. Means the angle of this area was 90 degrees, but we can do
Oh, wow.
curve heel also.
Even this step can be customized as well. But getting the shape just right is just the first part of finishing the edge. The real obsession is making it perfectly smooth.
That's crazy. So there's like, basically just to finish the edge trim, there's like 4, 5, maybe 6 levels of finishing.
And he's not kidding. After the main sander, they go over it again and again with a Dremel and smaller sand grits. And then this. Finally, they brush the edge with a piece of glass to make sure that it is just buttery smooth.
The final, we will put a wax to seal the pores, so water is hard to get in through.
Wow. Okay, so it's just an insane level of detailing. Even though the shoe almost looks finished, there's still a lot to do.
Yeah.
To really finish things off, the last is pulled and every stray mark is cleaned off. Gets a final coat of cream and polish, laces go in, and after one last quality check, it's boxed up and ready to ship. Here's the thing, Bandung kinda matters because it shouldn't exist. It's a miracle that it does. And that now that somehow on the back of the internet and Instagram and just happenstance, it's this self-sustaining machine. That this is the last real concentration of hand-welt, hand-lasting bootmakers on earth. Not some scattering of one-man ateliers or random workshops here and there. Not a single nostalgic factory doing things the old way, but a living, self-perpetuating ecosystem.
Yeah, Bandung is definitely, it's the global hub of this particularly old-fashioned way of making boots.
Very rare, though, to get that culture of so many people doing it in Bandung.
The density here is everything, because the reputation exists both overseas and within Bandung. And kids and teenagers here grow up seeing bootmaking as a real, genuine opportunity.
Bandung, this place where they've all descended on this town, and where it's a normal thing to do, to be making boots this old-fashioned way. Yeah, it's unique, as far as I know.
We need to teach more younger people how to do the handmade construction. Like what we do here in Sagara, most of the artisans are starting from zero, not hijacking or kidnapping from another workshop.
So you're not poaching anyone else's talent, you guys are teaching them, everyone in-house?
Yeah, most of.
Wow, that's really cool.
A trade that you can earn, that you can create and take pride in what you make. And if you master it, you could one day open your own shop, make real money.
One of them, they were like a farmer, and then he taught him from zero. So because maybe he started from zero, so he has his own style, he has his own character. And maybe this also with other boot workshop.
Suppliers here ship the best leathers that they have because there's daily demand from high-level craftsmen.
What gave you the inspiration to use this leather?
This is one of the most expensive leathers, and is, I can say, one of the exotic leathers, but from animals that not like crocodiles.
Understood. Yeah, like from there's probably a word for that in English as well, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
And somehow, because of that reputation, being around quality, They flipped the script that's happening everywhere else on Earth. Instead of the cheaper, faster, easier race to the bottom that's happening everywhere else around the world, in Bandung, it's a race to the top.
So you hope that bootsmaker in Bandung, they improve quality, focus on quality. Because if they just want to make a hand-welted boots or shoes, it's easy, you know, and it's already a lot. But to keep the quality, that is important.
So he hopes that it doesn't just become more mass manufactured. Yeah, understood.
Makers here compete on skill, on quality. That's why people come here, for better leathers, higher stitch counts, cleaner welts.
There's a term in the boot world, stitch density. Like, you know, if you're hand stitching a welt, how many stitches are there in an inch? And they are incredible in terms of hand welting very high stitch densities.
Wild constructions that you can't find anywhere else. Curved heels, double midsoles, Norwegian and braided storm welts, whatever that means. Exotic, extinct techniques brought back from the dead because doing it better here still matters. Shops build reputations not just on their name, but on specific models and styles. Sagara are known for their linemans and monkey boots, Fortis on their engineers, Bristleback on Chelsea's and other laceless stuff, Onderhound on service boots, and pretty much for just taking things to the most incredible level and detailing an obsession with the art just anywhere, maybe outside of Japan. Seriously, Risky's doing some crazy stuff there. And there's a bunch of other guys also, Junker, Don's Originals, Jackrabbit, Texture, there's plenty more, dozens more of serious workshops making boots like the world hasn't seen in 100 years. And I think that's pretty cool. I think it kind of matters because it's a miracle that it came back in the first place, at least at this scale. And I sure hope Bandung sticks around.